and welcome to my birthday TBR. I am not a TBR person, but it is my birthday month. I'm trying to read down my TBR this year, and honestly, I just wanted to build a TBR around books that I think are going to be 5-star reads. So all of the books on my TBR are of course books that I own because that is my goal this year, to get my over 300 book TBR down as much as possible this year. Follow along with my weekly vlogs if you want to see how I am doing and where I'm at with that. But let's just get into the TBR and let's talk about some books I think are going to be 5-star reads. Of course, we are going to start out with Ali Hazelwood. We have Problematic Summer Romance and Deep End, and this one is actually a library copy, but I do own the audiobook of this one, so it still counts. But these are adult romances. I don't need to know anything about these books to know that I'm going to read them and most likely enjoy them, because for the most part, besides the short stories, I have given everything by Ali Hazelwood 4 to 5 stars, so I feel like these are just going to be amazing reads. And it's summertime. I have been hanging out so much lately by the pool and, just going on little summer vacations. These are definitely like the perfect beach read poolside books to pick up, so I cannot wait to get to these ones. Next up, we have A Botanical Daughter, and this is one I have been absolutely dying to read. It's a queer horror following these two guys who live in a botanical garden, I believe, and one is a taxidermist, the other one is a botanist, and something ends up happening, I believe with like fungus or something, and they decide to create a masterpiece, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with Frankenstein. From what I have heard, this is a Frankenstein retelling, but if you know me, I love queer horror, and I absolutely love books that have to deal with plants and fungus coming to life, so I am super excited to get to this one, and also the cover is stunning. I absolutely adore the spine of this one, but I cannot wait to give this one a try and see what I think. Next up, we have Nightbitch, and this is a book following a mom who ends up quitting her art career to be a stay-at-home mom. I believe there's some MLM schemes that she gets involved with, but the basis of the story is that she ends up turning into a dog. And this is just such a wild concept, and it has intrigued me so much. From the premise, the title, I just want to see what this book is all about. But this is just a book that has intrigued me so much, so I am dying to read it, and I definitely think it's going to be my kind of weird that I give 5 stars to. Next up is Leech, and this is one I have heard so many mixed opinions on. People either love it or hate it, but it is, I believe, a queer sci-fi horror book that has to deal with a parasite, and it has a lot to do with a medical institution, so I am very intrigued to see what all this book is about, because I haven't really heard too many people explain the premise further than that. I have heard that this book is written in sort of a collective consciousness type of way, so I am curious to see how that plays out and what I think about it. But again, fungus, parasite type horror books are my kind of thing, so this one has been calling to me, and I just really need to read this one and see what I think. Next up, we have Manhunt, which is another one of the very weird type of horror books that I find myself drawn to and end up loving. But this one is, I believe, set in this post-apocalyptic world, and we are following characters who hunt down feral men and harvest their organs. And I don't know why they do this. I don't really know the premise further than that, but that just intrigues me so much. It is a horror book, so I am excited to get to this one and see what I think. And definitely from this TBR that I have built, I can tell that I think I might be participating in some sort of summerween type of vibes. I definitely have a lot of horror books on this TBR, which is not what I was necessarily expecting. But obviously July is going to be my month of reading these more horror books that I have had on my TBR for a little bit now, which is definitely an interesting vibe that I decided to go with. But moving on from that, I do have a nonfiction on my TBR, and that is Filterworld, and this is How Algorithms Flatten Culture, which is a book I have heard a lot of great things about. But it basically is a nonfiction book all about algorithms and how they influence people, change our culture, and I'm just really interested to see what all is presented in this book. I also have 4 more books to talk about, but they are not ones that I own physically. They are ones that I either own the ebook or the audiobook of, so let's get into those. First, I have The Starving Saints. I don't know anything about this. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about this one, but me and this author have a hit or miss relationship. I have a book that is an all-time favorite by this author, and then another one that I could not have cared less about. So I am really interested to see what I think about this one. It is the author's newest release, so I'm very intrigued and very hopeful because I just know that this author can write things that are absolutely for me and that I absolutely love. So hopefully that one is this book. I also have The Floating World, which is by an author who I've actually only read a YA contemporary book by, so I'm excited to see what they do with this one. I also don't know the premise of it. I'm not really in the YA sphere anymore. I actually don't even know if this one is YA, but it looks very sci-fi fantastical, and I believe I even put this one on one of my most anticipated releases. I believe I did, but I'm not totally sure. But either way, when I saw the cover of this book and who the author was, I was immediately intrigued. And since that YA contemporary was one that I had given 5 stars to, I am very intrigued to see what the author can do with a more sci-fi type of story. Continuing the sci-fi, we have Annibot. This one, all I know is that it's a story about a sex robot, I believe, and it's basically set in this sort of future where AI and robots are more common and people can get into relationships with these AI robots. And I believe the entire story is following the point of view of Annie, who is a sex robot, and I just feel like that's a very fascinating concept for a story, so I'm really intrigued to see what the author does with this premise. And then, of course, to end off this TBR, I have a monster romance. We have How to Seduce a Slender, and this one, I will say, was sent to me by the author. I am part of their ARC team, and so this is their newest release, and it's the second in the series, but I don't believe you have to read them in order, but I absolutely love the first book. I even went to a convention that the author was at and got the book signed and everything by her. So I am really looking forward to the second book because a book all about Slender Man is definitely intriguing to me. I was very into creepypastas in middle school, so this whole story is very up my alley and I'm just so excited to read it and dive back into this world. But those are all of the books on my July TBR. What books are you planning on reading in July? Have you read any of the books that I mentioned in my TBR? Do you think I will rate them 5 stars? Because I am really hoping to find some more 5-star reads. The past couple of months I just have not been reading anything, and when I have, they've been like mediocre 3-star read books, so I am very desperate for some amazing 5-star life-changing books. So wish me luck, but I will see you all in the next video. Bye!